This is Cat Daddy with the Fix It Show, where our motto is, if we can't fix it, we'll fix it, so nobody can fix it. What kind of things do we fix? Classic dirt bikes from the late 60s through the 70s. Got a bad carb, not working for you? We'll show you how to rejet it. Forks leaking? We'll show you how to fix the seals. Tires need changing? It's a dirty job, but we'll show you how to make it a lot easier. So look for us on YouTube, The Fix It Show.
Howdy folks, it's me, Cowboy Dave. This is our first episode of The Fix It Show, where our motto is, if we can't fix it, we'll fix it so nobody can fix it. And I'm here with my good buddy, Cat Daddy. Cat Daddy, come on in and say howdy to everybody out there.
Howdy, everybody out there.
We're here at Willow Springs Raceway, and we're doing some testing today with the world-famous Formula Car driver, Doug Brenner. And of course, we are so lucky to have a four-time world champion motocross, Gunnar Lindstrom. Say good morning, boys.
That was exaggerating a little bit.
Yes, there we are. And none other than Don Peak. Don, say hi to everybody.
Howdy.
Okay.
Okay, we're here talking about Olin shocks, and we were talking about stroke and wheel travel. So I'm curious, you're not using the entirety of the stroke.
No. Sometimes it does. I'm not sure. I'm seeing that I have some little analog, some little O-rings. Hold on and let me go get my little tool and we'll reset them. We can see if we're actually bottoming those out.
Right. All right, we're back with Gunnar Lindstrom, four-time world motocross champion, and we're going to have a little conversation with him. Gunnar, what's happening?
Well, first of all, I'm not the four-time motocross world champion. Somebody had to be second, and, and that was me. Torsten Hallman is the four-time world champion, so he's the man. He's the man. Anyway, we're here with Doug, and we're trying his car out. He's getting him some seat time so that he can prepare himself for the runoffs, the final race of the year, the big event up at Sears Point. And he's trying all kinds of things. So, we're particularly interested in tire temperatures and tire pressures because there seems to be a lot of variable around that.
Is the heat affecting the tire pressure right now?
Very much so. And of course, if it's a cold day, we have to start with different pressures. Mm-hmm. And if it's a hot day, vice versa. So that's what he's trying to figure out now. He's kind of new to these tires. They're a new kind that he's not used to, neither am I for that matter. And he's fiddling with it now, and now we're going to do a spring change to see whether that will affect the tire and the way the car feels in the corners. He doesn't like the way the car corners right now. He thinks he needs a little more grip in the back, and spring change may do the trick.
Good deal. All right. Thanks very much, and we'll be back after this message. We're back with Gunnar Lindstrom, motocross champion. Tell us about your motocross experience.
Well, what I remember most vividly, of course, were the end of the 60s and the beginning of the 70s, mm-hmm. when I was very competitive, and I had the opportunity to travel, very much appreciated at the time, and still is for that matter. Motocross is growing here in America, rapidly, and there was all kinds of anticipation it's going to take the size of, would be like basketball or golf or something. Mm-hmm. That didn't quite happen, of course, but there were a lot of optimistic people at the time, and I went to several golf courses where golf course owners thinking that motocross may be the big thing, and maybe I actually need to change over my golf course to a motocross track. I went to one in Lexington, Kentucky, and had a very, very enthusiastic owner there. So those kind of things stands out, how optimistic and how progressive things were here in America at the time. And we didn't see that in Europe so much, but here, of course, it grew from practically nothing into something big. In Europe, it was already big, so it didn't have much room to grow. But that's what really stands out with me, is the growth of motocross here in the U.S.
I'm curious to ask you about the development of the throttle, because you are the creator of the Gunnar Gasser throttle.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, that was something I wanted to do for a long time. And, even not only with my own riding, but also with several of the other Husqvarna guys, they would fall down and bend the throttle cable, and it would be kinked. And I remember many of the mechanics there had a whole throttle cable with the wire and the slide and carburetor parts already ready to go, just to screw on, as an assembly, because that happens so frequently. So after I left Husqvarna in 74 and 75, in 1975 I started on the throttle, something I wanted to do for a long time. And it took me 2 years to get it done, and it was introduced in 1975.
Great. Well, we know that they still sell them. They're still available. You can find them on eBay, original ones. Lots of copies out there of it.
Well, that's probably my biggest compliment for that product. That product is
All the clones.
There's still people making copies. But I'm not in the business anymore.
Right.
I sold that off.
Well, but it works.
It works great.
It's a great product.
And there's another compliment. Everybody copied it in some certain different ways. Not exactly like mine, but you don't see a throttle cable sticking out from the handlebars anymore.
They're not coming straight out of the throttle anymore. Yeah.
So I suppose I can take a little credit there, and I was one of the first, not the first, but one of the first to do it, at least on a motocross bike. We had it on street bikes for some time, but yeah.
There you have it. Motocross legend, inventor, Gunnar Lindstrom.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, we're back. It's the Fix It Show. I'm Cat Daddy, and I'm with legendary musician and race car driver, Don Peak. Don, you've worked with a long, long list of heavyweight musicians.
That's because I'm really old.
Run down some of those people the most famous people that you've worked with.
Well, I started out with the Everly Brothers. I was lead guitarist when I was 21 with the Everly Brothers.
Right.
And we were touring England and Europe, and then we'd come back to the U.S. and we'd go back to England. And the second year we were on tour, 1962, all of a sudden Bo Diddley was on the tour with us, and Little Richard. And the guys that were opening up for us were these guys called the Rolling Stones.
Okay.
And they had really long hair. And we noticed behind the stage, there were some other guys with long hair. And I said to one of the Stones, I said to Keith, who are those guys? And he said, those are the Beatles. They're our friends. And so we would hang out with each other. And we all went to Germany and played at the Star Club in Hamburg. And it was the Everly Brothers and the Rolling Stones and the Beatles. And we traded sets in 1962.
Awesome.
And I met some really nice guys at a nightclub one night. And they heard we were with the Everlys, and they sat down with someone. It was Albert Lee and Eric Clapton.
All right.
And years later, Clapton wrote about me in his autobiography and talked about he really thought I was very accomplished.
Really?
And Keith Richards wrote about me in Melody Maker, saying that I had shown him some guitar things.
Wow, that's
And it's just
high compliment.
I was 21. I was just a kid.
Right.
And got back to Los Angeles, and I heard that Ray Charles was looking for a guitar player. And I called him up and I said, my name's Don Peak and I'm white. And Joe Adams said, can you play? I said, yes, sir. He said, get down here. And I drove down to Washington Boulevard in Los Angeles, and I auditioned, and Ray Charles hired me on the spot. And I did 10 years with Ray Charles. But in the meantime, Motown came to Los Angeles. And Diana Ross came in, it was 1969, and she brought this little kid with her with a big afro, kind of like Dave's hair, And all of a sudden, we realized it was Michael Jackson.
Right.
He was 11 years old, and he could dance and he could sing, and we all thought, my God, this kid. And Freddie Perrin wrote the music, and he passed it out. And my part was, with the bass player, my job was to go bom, ba-da-ba-dee-bom, ba-da-bom, ba-da-ba-dun, dun, 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 da-da-da-da-da-bom. So I did that. David T. Walker, do-do-do-do-do-do. So we made all the Jackson 5 hits.
Right.
I Want You Back, ABC, Dancing Machine. I played the electric sitar on a song called Maybe Tomorrow.
Electric sitar.
Yeah,
Okay.
it looked kind of like a guitar, but it wasn't.
Right.
So I had a lot of good times and continued playing with Brother Ray. I played on America the Beautiful. And in the meantime, right about 1968, I met this really talented young driver named Douglas Brenner.
Okay.
And he was a champion at the time he had a Porsche Speedster, and I was champion in a Mini Cooper S, and then I bought a Lancia Fulvia, which I won the whole Pacific Division.
Now, I'm curious to ask you a question. Professional musician, composer, conductor, how do you marry that with racing? It seems like you'd spend a lot of time weekends away when you would be racing, so how'd you fit it in?
You know, if you listen to these cars as they go by, there's something musical about it. And you know, when you listen to your engine, when you're changing gears, I used to sing to my car. I used to sing along with the gear shifts. You know, it was just, there's something, it's like a dance. And you learn about being a wrench because you've got to come in the pits like Douglas is doing. Now, he's also the wrench in this case, but you've got to be able to tell your crew what the car's doing.
Right.
And I remember Bruno. Do you remember Bruno Bori? He was Paul Newman's mechanic. He was from Ferrari. Well, Bruno, he called me, he put my whole name as one word, so he'd say, Dunpeak. Dunpeak.
And action.
Hi. Hi. This is Cat Daddy.
Okay, all right, ready, and hold it. I didn't call action. Hold it. All right, right there. Come right into frame.
Okay.
And action.
This is Cat Daddy with the Fix It Show.